heading into this 2016 U.S. Open, you could kind of sense that things were going to be different. It was not going to be the familiar script that we often see in the men's game, where it really is just dominated by the big three. Novak Djokovic was coming off Olympic disappointment. Roger Federer, of course, had to pull out as he continues to try and get healthy. And Rafa Nadal, he has been playing pretty quality tennis, but clearly not the player he once was. So with that, it was hardly a surprise for true tennis fans to see Stan the Man Wawrinka come out on top and win the 2016 U.S. Open by grinding down a largely untested up to the final Novak Djokovic. I mean, all the walkovers and retirements Djokovic faced, it kind of left him ill-prepared for the final. But take nothing away from what Stanimal did. That one-handed backhand of his is truly an extraordinary thing. His ability to hit flat-out winners when you just don't see him coming. Hitting the top spin that he has on the one-handed backhand. Anyone, club-level player who plays the one-hand backhand will attest to the fact that it is incredibly difficult to generate quality topspin off the one-handed backhand. But it is such a blistering stroke, even dating back to 2009. John McEnroe called it the best one-hander in tennis. So, give Wawrinka a ton of credit for going out, winning his third major, and winning all three of his majors past the age of 29. He is 31 years old now, of course, but he is the definition of a big match player. He is 3 for 3 in all major finals he's played in. He's won his last 11 finals matches. This is just a guy who sometimes struggles to find inspiration at the smaller events. But when he's on the big stage, he just takes it to a whole different level. His mental toughness is something else. Maybe that's why he goes like this all the time. He just loves that. It's becoming contagious. He is the everyman. He's a very relatable tennis player. He's quite stoic, but does a great job of keeping his emotions in check. For Djokovic, disappointment for him. Certainly, he wants to get one step closer to breaking Federer's record for most singles slam titles, and he did not come any closer after this tournament. And he heading into his final match, he looked like he was in great form. He dismantled Gael Monfils, who had a nice run of his own. Monfils doesn't make it this deep into majors very often, and I kind of got a laugh out of when I was reading on Twitter, Gael Monfils trying to be the first man to win the U.S. Open without dropping a set. Meanwhile, I was thinking to myself, well, Monfils would be lucky to win a set against Djokovic, and he did not. Of course, John McEnroe criticized him, saying that Monfils, just showed a complete lack of effort. It was, he just all but called it pathetic, really, honestly. McEnroe ripped him a new one. I don't think that was the issue so much as Monfils just didn't believe he had a chance against Djokovic, and it showed in his shots. Looking at things a little further down the line, Rafa Nadal, one of the best matches of this tournament, really, was Rafa Nadal's fourth round clash against Lucas Pouille, the young Frenchman. This is kind of Pouille's breakout tournament, seeing him come as far as he did, although, of course, he lost to Monfils in straights. He was, of course, exhausted after his 5-set thriller against Rafa. But really, you got to give Pouille a lot of credit for that match he won against Rafa. Rafa put a lot of pressure on him, but at the same time, you kind of got the vibe that Rafa, towards the end of the match, was waiting for Pouille to kind of fold and let the moment get to him. It never happened. Pouille showed remarkable composure, especially in that 5th set tiebreak. That was some of the best tennis of the year, in truth. So, the 24th seed Frenchman has a very bright future ahead of him. Look out for him. It was also a wonderful thing to see Juan Martín del Potro back towards the top of the tennis world. He just dismantled competition early on. I mean, he's just been through so many hard times with those 3 surgeries on his left wrist. It's been very, very challenging for him. The 2009 U.S. Open champion, pretty much 3 years lost on his career. I'm sure that's incredibly difficult. But Del Potro's 27 now. He's got to be looking at guys like Wawrinka, even Federer, and these guys who are playing well into their 30s and winning titles. The men's game has changed in terms of seeing guys have staying power, being able to play into your 30s. It used to be when you were 30 years old, you were ancient in men's tennis, and that just isn't the reality anymore. So, we really hope to see Del Potro continue to play at a high level. In terms of high-level tennis, Kei Nishikori, what an incredible player off both wings. The forehand and backhand, the pace he generates off both sides, considering his size, is truly remarkable. His work ethic, his dedication is top-notch. I look at Nishikori as the best player in the world right now, yet to have won a slam. And I do think he has a very good chance of winning his first slam sometime soon. For me, the best match of the U.S. Open was Lucas Pouille's upset over Nadal. But, Kei Nishikori's 5-setter over Andy Murray was a close second. Nishikori is now ranked 6th in the world. He's really knocking on that door. The 2014 U.S. Open finalist, he had an improbable run there. Of course, his 5-set win over Djokovic was truly, truly incredible, the way he fought and battled in that match. One of the most mentally tough players on the tour. If you had a guy like Gael Monfils, if he had the same temperament and attitude as Nishikori, he certainly would have won a major by now. But really the story of this Open has to be Stan Wawrinka coming out and winning it. Yes, Djokovic dealt with those foot blister issues. I'm pretty sure his foot was bleeding, I heard, in that match, and that's just miserable pain. So in a sense, you could say Wawrinka put him out of his misery, but it was a slam well earned for Stanimal. I mean, he has worked so hard over the years to finally get his breakthrough. Yes, you can go with the whole typical narrative, breaking out of Federer's shadow, whatever. But this is about Stanimal being the everyman, someone that every tennis player who has been struggling throughout their career, guys like to get over that hump and win their first major title, guys like Berdych and Tsonga, they have to believe that, if Stan can do it, I can do it. What's it going to take for guys like Berdych and Tsonga to take their game to the next level? Who knows? But, looking at Tsonga, one of the guys that, many thought would have won a slam by now. He's been towards the top of the tennis world for quite some time, but hasn't had his breakthrough, of course. But, his tournament ended after he was forced to retire through injury against Novak Djokovic. But I will say that Jo-Wilfried Tsonga had a terrific win over Jack Sock in the 4th round. Sock was playing fantastic tennis. Truly, truly fantastic tennis leading up to that point. But, from the guy who once put down as one of his favorite quotes, who needs a mental game when you have sick timing on your forehand? Well, Jack, you need a mental game too, because there are other players out there like Tsonga who have sick timing on their forehand as well. But, Sock is still young, still has a great chance of winning a major, in my opinion, one day. Look forward to seeing if he can make that happen and save this generation of U.S. men's tennis from being the lost generation. So just to wrap things up here, Stan Wawrinka, mentioned him kind of all over this show, if you will, but I really want to give him a ton of credit for going out and winning his 3rd slam at the age of 31. He's never made it past the quarterfinals of Wimbledon, so it'll be interesting to see if he can complete the career slam next year. But, because of players like Stan Wawrinka, the Big Four, as we know it, is no more. Federer is on the decline, as is Nadal. Djokovic is looking a little bit more vulnerable, and Andy Murray puts it together over the course of a full year, but his problem has been finishing the job at majors too many times. So to see a player make the most of his opportunities at the top of the game and to do it the way Stan Wawrinka does, it truly makes him one of a kind.